The Prime Minister made a series of announcemements today, among them delaying an EV mandate. It's an effort to help the auto sector, which has been turned around by American tariffs.
U.S. President Donald Trump is once again trying to rattle markets. They're really not being rattled today, at least this time with a threat to impose 100% tariffs on Canadian goods if...
The Prime Minister announced that roughly 50,000 electric vehicles will be coming to Canada from China. And that announcement ruffled feathers both inside and outside the auto industry. Ontario Premier Doug Ford calling for an all-out boycott of Chinese EVs.
The integrated North American auto industry, once a symbol of seamless cross-border success for decades, is now cracking under the weight of President Donald Trump's aggressive tariffs. What was intended as a bold strategy to protect American jobs and force manufacturing back home has turned into a major economic boomerang. Tariffs designed to punish Canada are now severely impacting U.S. automakers in one of their largest export markets. Factories south of the border are idling production lines, shipments northward are stalling, and Canadian consumers and dealers are turning away from American brands in unprecedented numbers. The latest development has added even more fuel to the fire. Canada has struck a targeted trade agreement with China, allowing tens of thousands of affordable Chinese electric vehicles into the market at drastically reduced tariffs. This has provoked an immediate and furious response from Trump, including threats of 100% tariffs on all Canadian goods. This situation goes far beyond just vehicles sitting on dealer lots or parts crossing the border multiple times a year. It touches on national pride, strategic leverage, serious miscalculations in policy, and the long-term viability of an economic partnership that has defined North America since the Auto Pact of 1965. We will examine this step by step: how the tariffs were imposed, the immediate and ongoing fallout, province-by-province reactions, the key roles played by leaders like Ontario Premier Doug Ford and Prime Minister Mark Carney, the details of the China deal, Trump's escalating threats, the critical upcoming CUSMA review, and what this all means for workers, consumers, businesses, and the future of trade in the region. When Donald Trump returned to office in January 2025, he quickly revived and intensified his America First trade agenda. Section 232 tariffs on steel and aluminum were reinstated and expanded. Auto and parts imports faced heavy duties, and by mid-2025, broad tariffs on Canadian goods climbed as high as 35% in some categories. The stated objective was clear: pressure Canada into concessions on long-standing irritants like dairy supply management, softwood lumber subsidies, and perceived unfair advantages in cross-border trade. Trump even made provocative comments suggesting Canada could become the 51st state, underscoring his view that the neighbor to the north needed to align more closely with U.S. interests. Canada's response, however, was neither immediate capitulation nor reckless escalation. It was deliberate, coordinated across federal and provincial levels, and increasingly focused on diversification and resilience. Provinces took independent but aligned actions. Ottawa pursued new partnerships, and the auto sector, deeply intertwined with U.S. production, emerged as the primary battleground. By January 2026, the data painted a stark picture of the damage. According to Statistics Canada and reports from Bloomberg and the Financial Post, in the first 10 months of 2025, with trends continuing strongly into 2026, only 36% of passenger vehicles imported into Canada originated from U.S. factories. This marks a historic record low, down sharply from the roughly 49% average over the previous decade and far below the 70% levels seen in the 1990s. The once dominant U.S. share has been eroded by surging imports from Mexico, South Korea, Japan, and other sources. Even before the latest tariffs, the trend was downward, accelerated by factors like EV demand and supply chain shifts. But Trump's duties, imposed starting in April 2025 on foreign-made vehicles, prompting Canadian retaliation, have accelerated the decline dramatically. The mechanics are straightforward but devastating. The North American auto supply chain relies on parts crossing the border multiple times before final assembly. Tariffs add cumulative costs at each step, disrupting the efficiency that made the system profitable. Manufacturers like Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis Chrysler can no longer fully absorb these hits, leading to higher sticker prices for consumers in Canada. Forecasts suggest increases of 3 to 4% or more in some segments. Dealers report reduced foot traffic for US-made models, slower sales velocity, and growing inventories. South of the border, US warehouses fill with vehicles that can't move north as easily. Export volumes shrink month by month. Industry associations warn of production inefficiencies, rising operational costs, and threats to competitiveness against lower-cost global players. This collapse is not abstract. It's hitting real people and communities. In the US, auto towns in Michigan, Ohio, and beyond feel the pinch as orders drop. In Canada, the pain is concentrated in manufacturing hubs, where thousands of jobs depend on stable cross-border flow. The mandatory CUSMA review in 2026 looms. Options include renewing for another 16 years, full withdrawal, or perpetual annual reviews with ongoing negotiations. Trump has called the agreement transitional or irrelevant, hinting at expiration or demands for higher U.S. content requirements, dairy and lumber reforms, and lifting provincial measures, including lingering alcohol restrictions. Public consultations are active. Formal talks intensify mid-year. Canada leverages strengths like critical minerals, vital for U.S. AI and tech, and reliable energy supplies, but uncertainty persists. If courts limit Trump's use of emergency powers for broad tariffs, the balance could shift. Broader lessons stand out. Economic leverage isn't solely about market size. It's about unity, strategic timing, and endurance. Canada has shown these qualities. Provinces coordinate responses. Ottawa diversifies markets. Europe, Asia, internal trade barriers fall to boost domestic resilience. Trump anticipated quick compliance. Instead, pushback has solidified. Costs rebound onto the industries tariffs aim to shield. Doug Ford continues holding the line in Ontario, demanding protections and urging consumer support for local production. Mark Carney steers federally, balancing diversification with CUSMA fidelity. The auto sector braces for one of its most challenging years, with existential questions about jobs, investment, and competitiveness. This isn't merely about cars. It's a test of how nations respond under pressure. What began as a demonstration of dominance has become a sustained consequence. American auto sales erode in Canada. Chinese EVs gain limited entry. Tariffs inflict reciprocal pain. The miscalculation is evident. The path forward uncertain. Will negotiations yield compromise, or will tensions escalate? The CUSMA talks will reveal much. For now, Canada stands firm. If you've stayed with this deep dive all the way through, thank you. This story impacts jobs, prices, supply chains, and our shared North American future. Share your thoughts in the comments. Should Canada push harder on diversification? Will Trump back off? Hit the like button if this breakdown clarified things. Share it with anyone following the trade drama, and subscribe and tap the bell for real-time updates on every new development.